Okay, V'schut Rabbeinu Nachman ben Fega. So we were learning last week this amazing Torah. It's mamish like such unbelievable advice that really can help every Jew, no matter what situation we can find ourselves in. Specifically, situations, anything that has to do with darkness, anything that has to do where the light of Hashem is not found. Rabbi Nachman gives you a specific advice on how to come out of that situation, how to tap into the light that's really hidden in that place. This is the 12th Torah in the second chelik in the Kutz Moran. It's known as Ayeh Mekom Kavodo. So we were learning last week, just to give a little introduction to people that weren't here. We were learning last week that Hashem, Rabbi Nachman said, Hashem created the world with 10 utterances, known as the Asara Ma'amarot. The 10 utterances in creation. You can see this in Sefer Bereshit. Hashem said, like many times, that Hashem said, and there was this, right? So there's Asara Ma'amarot. Now he says, and this is what composes everything in creation. Everything as you know it, all the trees, the cement, the cars, everything, the walls, the table, the books, everything's composed from the letters of these 10 utterances that took place in creation. Sort of like the Matrix movie, tapped into like an Indian of this, that it's not just letters, random letters in a computer, it's mamish letters of a Kadosh Baruch Hu, the letters of Lashon HaKodesh. So that's what's happening. So however, Rabbi Nachman says, but one second, there's an issue, because I can understand everything is supposed to generate a certain type of kavod of Hashem. And that's the letters that's inside of that thing. Everything has a certain potential about how much honor of godliness really all of the world is supposed to bring out a certain aspect of kavod towards Hashem in some sort of way, in whatever way it could be. He says, but however, we know there are places, there are situations in life where it is not involved in kedusha, it is involved in complete impurity, right? Let's say a place of idol worship, right? Place of sins. How is that sustained from the 10 utterances? Because it says that my honor, chvodi la'acher lo eten. It says in the pasuk that my honor I will not give to acher. Acher means the other side. So my honor I will not give to others. But in a deeper way, Kabbalistically, that means right the forces of impurity. So how is Hashem's honor in those places of impurity? On one hand, Rabbi Nachman says it won't be able to exist if the honor of Hashem, if Hashem's not sending His light through the 10 utterances into those places, that place would cease to exist. But on one hand, we know the concept of uchvodi la'acher lo eten. So how could that place be in existence? So it's a very puzzling thing. So Rabbi Nachman says, he says that place, it must be getting its light from Hashem, and it is getting its light from Hashem. From which utterance? There's one utterance that's called the hidden utterance, the Maimer Satum. It's brought down the Zohar HaKadosh, it's brought down the Kabbalah. There's one utterance that's known as the hidden utterance, and that hidden utterance is what's giving sustenance to all those places that's far from seemingly void of godliness. So then he says, in a nutshell, this is really like a lot. He says that hidden utterance is known as Ayeh Mekom Kavodo. Like, where is your place of glory? It's almost hidden. It's like you can't even see it. It's completely hidden, but it's there. So he says, how does a Jew tap into that light, into that source of godliness that's in that place? Let's say every Jew finds himself all of a sudden in an impure place. Now, when he does say in an impure place, the Rebbe says also, and Rabbi Nosson says, it doesn't necessarily have to mean a place. It could be a headspace. It could be you have doubts towards Hashem. It could be a scenario. It could be pressures in life caving in on you, and it's hard to see God's light. It could be you getting into your own sophistication and not being a simple Jew and realizing Hashem runs the show. It could be many things. What are you supposed to do to tap into God in that place that's dark? So he says, all you have to do, not use sophistication, just with complete simplicity, just be like, God, where are you? ask the question. Hashem, where are you? You're not questioning God. You're not questioning if God's there or not. You're asking. You're asking Hashem, I'm trying to find you. Where are you? It's, and this in itself, by doing that, instantly you tap into the source of life, or the life source that's keeping that place into existence, and in that merit you can come out of that situation to a place of light, a place of brightness. It's amazing teaching in the Likutei Moharan. It's very fundamental, right? And it has many ramifications, because one of the ramifications is that it says in the Zohar that all of the utterances are receiving their light, like their life source. They're actually latching on to the hidden utterance. So the hidden utterance isn't just like another utterance, it's just hidden. It's the most powerful, and it's probably the highest, because all the utterances are connected to that. So that means all of the manifestations within creation as we see it is getting its life source really from that hidden utterance. How is that hidden utterance tapped into? When people like me and you fall into a place of darkness, and we say, Aya mekom kavod, Hashem, where is your place of glory? We tap into that unbelievable, powerful light of what's known as Keter in the Sfirot, and it can give light to all the different realms of creation. So it has a very powerful impact, this teaching of Rabbi Nachman. Okay, are there any questions there, or should we read a little bit?
10 utterances.
What?
We don't know what the 10 utterances are. We do.
It's brought, in the Chumash. If you open up, it says, God said, "Let there be this," whatever it was. So there was 10 of those. Mm-hmm. Really, one of them was hidden. There's 9. Really, one of them is hidden. What's the 10th one? It's known as the hidden utterance. It's actually Bereshit. Bereshit doesn't say that. It doesn't say that God said in the beginning, let there be whatever. It's one of the utterances, but it's hidden. That utterance is like on the highest level, and it's giving chizuk, like energy, to all the other utterances. Okay, so let's look inside. Okay, so let me see where it is over here. It would be on this like basically the third column. I mean the middle column. Okay, and the first word of the line is Avodah Zarah. So Avodah Zarah, Achda, towards the end of that line. Okay.
10th line.
Well, that's fifth, maybe 12th line from the top. Right, the first word of the line is Avodah Zarah, and then the second to the last word is Achda. So it says over there, Achda, one should know, Kihem mekablin bebechinat mamar sotim, all those places of impurity, places of idol worship, right, places that are dark, they're all receiving their light from the hidden utterance, Shehu Bereshit mamar satum, which is Bereshit, which is the hidden utterance. Shehu kolel kol hamamarot. It includes all of the utterances of creation, Bechula mekablan chiyut mimenu, and all of them are receiving their life from it. V'hakavod shel hamaymer satum, the kavod that comes from this hidden utterance, hu satum v'nelam b'tachlit ha'astara. It is completely hidden. Umisham hem mekablim chiyut. That's where they get their life from. Ki mebechina takavod v'amarot hamitgalim I efshar lahem lakabel chiyut misham. Because from this aspect of kavod and the ma'amorot that are revealed already, it's impossible to get that those places should get their life from there. Why? Because it says, my honor I will not give to others, to the side of impurity. So where is it getting its life from? It's getting its life rak ma'amar satum, from the hidden utterance. Shehu nistar b'tachlit ha'astar, it's completely hidden. Misham mikablin chiyut. That's where it's getting its life from. The davar zeh yefshar lavin. He says, this thing is very deep and it's impossible to figure out. You can't just completely fathom. It's such a deep concept. You can't completely figure this out. V'asur laharher b'zeh klal, and you can't really think about it. You know, you can't come to, it's asur to really think about it too much, because it's, you know, it's beyond our scope of grasp. How can it be that, like, you know, Hashem's light is in these places, it's coming from the hidden utterance, to understand that, I mean, you know, to how that works exactly, it's so deep, it's beyond us. But there's something practical that comes out of this. That's why Rabbeinu is bringing this down. There's something practical that we should get out of this story, that we should use in our lives. What? V'al kin kisha adam nofel. Therefore, when a person falls, and we all fall, chas v'shalom, every Jew has ups and downs. You know, it says that this world was created, right, day and night, right? It was darkness, it was light, hills and valleys, ups and downs. Hashem didn't make everything straight. Right, like we say in Ishtabach, you know, he's borek kol neshamot, right? Ribon kol hamasim, and then we also say habocher b'shirei zimra. Hashem chose music, song. So a Rabbi of mine once said, he said that, you know, like just like we see when it comes to music, the beauty of music comes out what? From the different notes. It goes high, it goes low. That's how music comes out, right? Otherwise, it would just be, imagine if music was just like one, you know, like on one key the whole time, it'd sound like, you know, it sound like retarded. Like, what is it? Like, you know, the whole time, you know? That's not music. Music, the whole beauty of it comes from the ups and downs. So too, it's all our souls. From being in this world, we go through the ups and downs. I just want to add a little something, you know. Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shefter, Shalita, he says that there was, you know, somebody came to Hillel and Shammai. Somebody wanted to convert to Judaism. He said, teach me the whole Torah standing on one foot. As we're familiar with that, right? So he said, teach me the whole Torah standing on one foot. So Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shefter says, what does that mean? So he says, 2 feet means sometimes you can go this way, sometimes you can go that way. 1 foot means always this way. I always want to go this way. So what does that mean? So Rabbi Nachman says, sometimes you have good days, sometimes you have bad days. Sometimes you have days that are just, you know, all the gates are open, everything's smooth. The birds are chirping, you know, it's sunny, it's gavaldig, everything's smooth sailing. And some days, it's, you know, it's tough. You know, like gatenisht, as they say. It's not going, it's hard, you know, manias, barriers. So he says you should know that when we go through a hard time and we remain strong, like we're like, you know what, I'm holding on, I'm holding strong no matter what. I'm not going to let it take me down. When you do that, and in every realm, Rabbi Nachman says, there's a lot of souls. You see, all the Jewish people were all connected in some sort of way. So he says there's a lot of souls that's specifically connected to your soul. Every soul has souls that's specifically connected to you. So when you hold strong, when you go through a barrier, you're not only helping yourself, you're helping all those souls that are also connected to you, to your neshama. And he says a lot of times, sometimes that could be your future descendants. Right? Like in years from now, you might have like, you know, great-grandson, you know, all of a sudden he'll come across some difficulty, but because his Alta Zedi, you know, because you were strong in a difficult time, that energy will come to his soul, and he'll also be strong. Right? You know, maybe after the shiur I'll tell you something personal about myself. Also, I have like by my grandfather, because certain things that he did, you know, Makubal once told me that had an effect on my neshama, and it was able to pull me out of the impurities I had fallen to. It was a tremendous, profound effect. So this guy came to Hillel and Shammai. First he came to Shammai, he said, teach me the whole Torah standing on one foot. I don't want to have ups and downs. I just want to have ups. And I'll be a good Jew. So then what happened was that Shammai, it says he took one of the pillars of the house and he chased him out. He said, get out of here. What are you talking about? What do you mean? You just want to have... What does the pillar of the house mean? Rabbi Yaakov Meir Shefter says the pillar of the house means it's one of the fundamental things in creation, that there's ups and downs. It's the point of being a Jew, that we are able to go through downs, we're able to hold strong, so that we could be mechazik ourselves and bring this light to the Jewish people. You know? I mean, like the Goyish kings, you know, used to send their army out. They used to stand in the back and call the shots, and if they win, they win. If they lose, they lose. And the Jewish armies, David HaMelech, he was up front in battle. You know, you have to be able to be a soldier, not a wussy stand. Oh, you know, it's hard. I can't. I'm not gonna be a Jew today. No, it is what it is. You know, it says like when Mashiach comes, the Goyim are going to complain. They're going to be like, it it's not fair. God, you gave the Jews all these beautiful mitzvahs. You did such amazing miracles. You gave them such love. You didn't do all these miracles for us. If you would have opened up the heavens and this, that, you would have done all these miracles in Egypt, this, that. We also would have been Jewish. Why not? We'll drink Manischewitz, we could swing that. So then Hashem's like, you know what? So let's do it, fine. You guys want to be Jews? Let's give it a shot. Let's be Jews. Fine, no problem. We'll be Jews, okay. The first mitzvah, it's time for Sukkot. So let's build a sukkah. Okay, everyone's building Home Depot, whatever, everyone's building. Fine, okay, we're all building, they're ready, all the goyim. So they're all ready, they come to the sukkah, they're all, how the Jews dressing, wow, Beckish is Streimels, okay, so they wear two, sure, yeah, I got my Streimel, my Beckish, I'm set, Kiddush. So then all of a sudden it says in Medrash, then Hashem's going to do one thing. He's just going to take the sun out of its cover. Take the sun out of its sheath, it says. It's going to get hot. Right? So, everyone's going to be in the sukkah, they're starting to sweat a little bit, it's getting hot. Okay, now it's getting really hot. Now it's getting crazy hot. The kids are crying, everyone's schwitzing, what's going to be? I'm going nuts. It's like... So it says that all of a sudden it's going to be so unbearable that they're going to be like, that's it, I can't take this anymore. And on their way out, they're going to kick the sukkah. They're going to just heck with this. So I was thinking, what do you mean? On one hand, it says that if someone's mitzdayer from being in the sukkah, someone's uncomfortable to the point that he's really in stress, it's bothering him, he's patur from the mitzvah. He can leave. So how come all of a sudden, that's what we're proving the goyim that they're wrong, that they're going to walk out the sukkah. They're allowed to, halachically they can walk out the sukkah. He said the difference is no. A Jew would walk out, but it'd still feel okay, I don't get to do the mitzvah, fine. It'd feel bad, but a guy, he'll kick the sukkah, he'll be like, the heck with this. If he can't do something, he has to put it down. There's something, there's this ego, there's something. He can't go through the times that are rough. If it gets too rough, forget about it. A Jew's not a quitter. David Melech Shel Chai V'Kaim. We're going to stick it out. It's the teachings of the tzaddik. Mainly, Rabbi Nachman focuses on not giving up. It's the main message in life. The main thing that Rabbi Nachman wants to put inside of our neshamas is never to give up. Always to hold strong, to keep on pushing, to be real soldiers. So this thing, right? So he comes to Shammai, and Shammai chases him out. He says, what do you mean you only want to have good times? You don't want to have, everyone has to be good. No bad days, Get out of here. So he came to Hillel, and Hillel told him what? Hillel told him, V'ahavta l'recha kamocha. Right? So what does that mean? First of all, that's the whole Torah. So Rabbi Hakimian Shechta says, he was telling him, listen, it says by converts that really, really, the truth is they had Jewish souls. They just came into this world, and they came into a non-Jewish setting, and they had to discover, they had to realize deep down that they're really Jewish, and they had to come back to Judaism, they had to search and find and dig till they come to Judaism. So he says, really, you have a Yiddish neshama, and the reason why you're getting awake is because there was another Jew somewhere that he held strong in his difficulty. So all of a sudden now you're interested to come even ask questions in shul and to be asking the rabbi questions. Why? Because there was some other Jew that became awake. So all of a sudden your soul's a little bit awake. So v'ahavta l'recha kamocha, you have to, by you remaining strong, even though these doubts that you have, and not let it take you down, and you just rely on being a simple Jew and trusting Hashem. He says you'll continue this light to other people, and in a certain sense, that's what we're here all to do. So, but we need advice to how to get out of the mud, how to get out of the darkness. So it's one thing of knowing, it's true. It's one thing of knowing that Hashem runs the show, and everything's for the best, and that makes a huge difference by us knowing that. But what's a practical advice? Sometimes it says I'm going to continue. He says v'nofel l'sveikot v'irhurim ubilbulim gadolim. Right? He falls into tremendous confusion, doubts, about God, about religion, about who knows, different things. Then all of a sudden he starts looking at himself. He starts taking a good look at himself. And then he sees, oy v'voy, wow, I'm really far from God's honor. Hashem Yerachim, look where I'm holding. V'shoel Mavakesh, and then he starts searching. So every Jewish soul has this part inside him that wants to search, that wants to find goodness. And he starts saying, Ayem Mekom Kevodo. He starts saying, where is your place of glory? Ma'achar Sheroeh Ba'atzmo Sherochok Mekavodo Yisbarach, since that he sees that he's far from Hashem's honor. Ma'achar Shenofal Mekom Askeilu Rachmana Litzlan, since that he's fallen to such places, Hashem should save us. Now listen to these words. You ready? He says over here, V'zeh ikar tikuna v'aliyato. This in itself is the main tikkun. This is the actual rectification that you needed to go through this whole scenario just to come to this point. What point? Just to ask God, I am Mekom Kavod. Hashem, where are you? Which is known as, then what happens? Let's see what it is. A transformation that takes place. B'bechinat Yerida Tachlit Haliyah. Hamuva B'sfarim. A Yerida, meaning the descent, going down. Tachlit Haliyah, for the purpose of the ascent. Right? Like a, what do you call it? Like a... Yeah, like a bow and arrow, exactly. Right? You pull it down, the further you pull it down, the further potential it is to then come higher. That's why we go through the situations that we go through. Ki ayem mekom kevodo, because this secret of where is your place of glory, zeh bechinat hakavod ha'elyon shel hamamar elyon. This is your tapping into the highest utterance, the highest level of godly honor that exists. Right? Dahainu amamar sotum bereshit, the hidden utterance of Bereshit. Shemisham nimshach chiyut lemekomot ha'elu, that from there comes sustenance to all these places that are dark. So nimsa, so we find, Ravenu says, when a Jew in his life decides to start searching for God, and he says, Hashem, where are you? He starts to realize where he's fallen. Do you know how many Jews I've spoken to throughout the years that they've fallen into dark places? And it's because, I would say, because they were in that place, all of a sudden their soul something started shaking inside of them, and they started realizing, where the heck am I? Like, where have I fallen? And they've asked this question. All of a sudden, they turn their eyes to God. They're like, God, where are you? And you should know, I'm telling you, a lot of these people, including myself, we're still riding off that chizuk, off that energy that we got from finding God in those dark places. Usually I don't quote, other sources, but Jerry Garcia once said, sometimes you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. I don't know how right he was looking when he was on stage, but you could look, if you look at it right. I mean, if you're searching, if you're looking for Hashem, you could get shown the light. You could tap in. I am a Kom Kavod. It's an unbelievable thing, and you should know it works. Not just like, not if a person falls just into an impure place, but in a scenario in life, like in my house, like family setting, sometimes, Blian Har with the children, things get really like lively, and then sometimes everything happens at once, like everything has to be done in like a matter of like 1 minute 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Like kids' diapers, this, that, all the food, the food's burning, like everything's just like, it's chaos, everything's happening, but Vasav, it's a one shot, everything's just like, you gotta be Superman to take care of everything. Either that or bug out. Just be like, So I tried this, just for a split second. Just close your eyes for 1 second. No one's really looking at you because everyone's bugging out. So just close your eyes once and be like, I am Mekom Kavodo. Just be like, God, where are you? Say that once again. It's okay to do that. You're supposed to do that. People think that, I have to rise above the situation. It's a kapara. I have to realize, you don't realize diddly. Everyone's bugging out. You're not going to start like making calculations. They're going to start yelling at you if you do. But you can ask a quick question. You can look up and be like, God, where are you? It's just a second. It's just turn to God. Hashem's just like, turn to me. I'm here. I'm hidden in this whole balagan, in this crazy commotion that's going on. I'm behind the scenes. Like it's a curtain. I'm standing on the other side of the curtain. Just ask. That's all we have to do. Just ask. Hashem, where are you? It's unbelievable. It's a big Eitzah. And when you tap into that, we're not telling you this huge, like, Kabbalistic secret. You're tapping into the highest utterance in creation. The hidden utterance in creation. Like, whoa! That's nuts! That's like, everything is being sustained by all the other utterances, and there's one utterance that's the highest. How do you tap into that when everyone's bugging out and you can just turn to God and just be like, Hashem, where are you? Whatever it may be. It could be a business. It's perfect for business, Reb Nosson says. Going out to the work field. It's a place, it's goyim, this, that, who knows, whatever you're doing, whatever you're selling, whoever you're interacting with. What are you doing? You find yourself, you're like I'm talking to, I was like, sometimes I used to like sell diamonds a little bit. I'm like talking to Armenian guys for like half the day. I'm talking to goyim, smelling their breath. Nothing against Armenians. I'm just saying, I'm just like, we're talking about gibberish. I'm trying to get them to buy the stone. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I'm like, I don't want to stare at this guy. I want to stare at a chavrusa in yeshiva. You know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? But I am a Kohen Kavoda. If you go with that angle of like, I'm searching for, Hashem's everywhere. I have to realize that. I'm not going to give in to just a mask. I have to realize Hashem's with me, and I'm doing this. I'm on a mission. Before I go to work, I realize like I'm going in, into the work field, and not to let that drive for money also to take you down. So a lot of people are trapped by that. They've fallen into this darkness of like, just like money, just grab. That's one of the biggest desires that is very hard to extract out of the soul. It's a very painful desire to really get out of our souls. So it's recommended that we don't fall in. Tzaddikim used to really make it a thing not to like desire money. Like the one time it happened with the Kutsk Rebbe, Menachem of Kutsk. This big tzaddik. One time he was in the Beis Medrash. So there were some Jews in the Beis Medrash. They were talking, about business and stuff like that. So then Rabbi Menachem Mendel passed by and he says, no, what are you guys talking about? He thought they're saying over like a vart or something. So they were a little bit embarrassed because in the shul, it's better not to talk these things. So he said, Rabbi, we're talking about gelt. We're talking about cash, So then the Rabbi was like, you're talking about gelt? And he just said one word. It's not really a word. He just said one sound. He just said, feh. Like that. What happened? One of those guys in the circle, after he heard that feh, like from the Kutzker, from then on in life, every time he came around cash, something happened. He would start to like throw up. He'd feel sick. He'd start like, oh my God. He just heard the Kutzker say feh when it came to money. He was like, so it's interesting. So later one time they saw, it was before Purim, the Kutzker Rabbi, he was sitting at his table, at his study table, and he had some coins in his hand. He was just like, playing with the coins. He was like flipping them around. He was like playing with the coins. Like they were like, the Kutzker Rebbe, he's playing with coins. So somebody asked him, said, Rebbe, what are you doing? You mamish despise money. He says, yeah, it's true, I do. But he said, there's a mitzvah that's coming up. It's called Matanas Le'Avyonim. I'm supposed to give money to the poor. So what if it's something I really despise and it's disgusting for me to give that to the poor? It's a mitzvah. It's not something so great. If I really love it and I give him something I love, then that's a mitzvah. So I'm trying to get love money a little bit. I don't know, play with it. I don't know. So it's very hard. We go through a lot of this world plays a lot of tricks on us. You know what I mean? It plays a lot. It gives us a lot of garbage. And the Rebbe is saying that all of a sudden a Jew starts to wake up. He's like, where am I? I've been chasing the dollar my whole life. How many of these dollars am I going to take to Olam Haba with me? You know what I mean? What do I have in my pocket really in the eternal world? You know what I mean? You start to think about Tachlis. The Rebbe was always about, whenever we get the Hasidim got together with Rabbi Nachman, the main thing that was in front of us was purpose, our mission in life. You just saw Rabbi Nachman, you'd start to think about, what am I doing in life? Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? And that's why you make, the Rebbe said it's very good to talk to Hashem every day in your own words. It's very special to take a little time every day, wherever you may be, even in between things, to just talk. One time the Rebbe said, it's better to try to find a job that you do with your hands. You don't have to use your mouth so much. Why? Because you can do your work and you can talk to Hashem. To try to find time to talk to Hashem, to communicate. Because when you do that, you start to think to yourself, where am I holding? Like, what's life about? you start to like analyze yourself a little bit, and that's a very healthy thing because that could bring you to the goal, to the destination. When you do something like that, it could center you in general in life. Meditation plays a big role in Judaism. Unfortunately, a lot of people, they're not aware of that. It could be a lot of Jews that are just going through their whole lives, just day to day, and just even they're doing the mitzvahs, which is beautiful. But if you don't meditate, if you don't contemplate, you might not be able to have a grasp on your own soul, and that could be very scary. Anyway, so we find with this advice, Nimtza, Shemavakesh Mechapes Aye Mekom Kavodo, from searching Hashem, where is your place of glory? Bezeh Be'atzmo Chozer Ve'ole El HaKavod HaElyon. From that in itself, you come to the highest level of kavod, of Hashem's kavod. Shu Bechinat Aye, which is the aspect of Aye. Shemigodel Hastara V'Alemo Hu Mechaya Mekomot Halalu. That utterance, the hidden utterance, is giving life to all those places of darkness. And you're tapping into the root of that by asking God where He is. V'achshav, and now, Al Yadeshu Nafal Lasham, since you have fallen there, into that place of darkness. V'azai Mevakesh Aye Mekom Kavodo, now that you ask Hashem, where are you? Ubezeh Chozer Medabek Atzmo Lasham, you go and now you attach yourself to Hashem in that place. Umechaya et nefilato, you give chiyas to your nefila. Psh. It's like now you're using your nefila. Before I learned this, I thought, when a Jew falls, he falls. That's it. It's like, you lost your marbles. That's it. It's over. Spilt milk. What are you going to do? But no, Rabbi Nachman says, no. Use your fall. You're falling. You fell. Now let's use it. Let's do something with it. Let's use it to shoot higher. You know what I mean? You can't do this beforehand. You can't say to yourself, let me go, do Averas, so I'm going to be low, then I'll shoot higher. Let me, beat the system. That's sophistication. That's like, the snake, we said last week, the snake, the Nachash tried to do that. He told Adam Rishon, some of the Mefarshim said that. He told Adam Rishon, there's a rule. He was very smart, and there was an aspect of Torah in the world still. So he said there's such a thing. If a person falls into a level of nothingness, he falls into a realm outside of God's will, then over there, if we bring God's will, if we find God's will, we connect to Hashem there, we could bring God's light into a place that didn't exist before. That's why they say that a Baal Tshuva can stand where even big tzaddikim can't stand. There's a type of light that a Baal Tshuva can access that sometimes even big tzaddikim can't access. That's what the Gemara says. Because they fall into a realm of... So the snake was like, hey, Adam, let's fall to that place where it's dark, and let's connect to God there. We'll reach on a higher light. He was trying to convince him. He was trying to convince him to do an avera lishma, like an avera for God's sake, for God's sakes. Hashem Yirachim. No, we remember at the beginning of this Torah, we learned that a person has to be simple. Be a simple Jew. Adam's got to be like, I'm a simple Jew. Like, God told me not to eat from the tree, bottom line. It sounds like a beautiful Torah you're saying. Bottom line, He said, don't eat from the tree. However, if you fell, if you're in that place of darkness, now you could do this. You could use Ayim Ekomko, search for God's glory. And the truth is, really, even if we don't sin, we go through stages in life where things get chaotic. It just happens to be. Why does it get chaotic? Because you have to touch into that abyss of nothingness, of the Maimer Asatim, the hidden utterance, so you could grow to the next level. It's always Yerida L'Tzorach Aliyah, meaning every time you want to go from one level to a higher level, let's say you've been on a level for 1 month, 2 months, 6 months. You've been on the same level, let's say, if there could be such a thing. A Jew remaining on one level for 6 months, if that could be, right? But let's say if it is, all of a sudden it comes time, you're ready to grow. In the heavens they also see, okay, he's ready to do more. So in order to go from one level to a higher level, there always has to be Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Boker, Yom Echad. It was night, it was day, one day. You want to go to the higher level, you're going to go through a little darkness. And it's going to feel like a rejection. It's not a rejection. God's behind that light saying, please hold on. If you can hold on, you can break through, you can pass that curtain, then you can go to the next level and Hashem's light will shine beautifully. A lot of times it is people usually give up because they don't have confidence in themselves. They don't believe in themselves. They feel like they're like these spiritual losers. So like, and then the voice of the HR, he's like this old guy at the bar. He's like, hey, come on, man, you're not going to get anywhere. Like you have to just shut out that voice. Be like, no, I can do it. I am Ekom Kavoda. Where is your place of glory? And let's see what happens when you do that. When you hold strong and you come to the high level, when you just ask God where He is, He says, "Ve'ole betachlit aliyah." You come to the purpose of this ascent now, to going up. Now you should know, He says this, "V'zeh bechinat korban ola." This is the aspect. This whole thing is like the aspect of the korban ola. Why? That the ola, we know, in the Beis Hamikdash there was a sacrifice known as the ola, shemechaper al hirhur halev. The ola was a kapara for thoughts, for foreign thoughts that we had, thoughts that were negative, thoughts about about God, about sins, bad thoughts, impure thoughts. Something that would give a kapara for that in the Beit HaMikdash. We know that the sacrifice would bring a kapara was the korban ola. Ola would fix this inyan of foreign thoughts, of bad thoughts, impure thoughts. Kamoshikatu Shamar Rabatinu, it says in the Medrash Rabbah Zichron Bracha, it says Kamoshikatu Vahaola al ruchachem Sha'ola mechaper hahirhur, that the ola is being mechaper these thoughts. Ki yesh bechinat libi sacharchar. There's an aspect, like the pasuk says, that my heart was going in a roundabout. I was surrounding. It was going round and round. Ki yesh klipa is like there's a type of husk. Now in Kabbalistic terminology, there's husks. There's things that cover God's light. Shehima kemet. There's a type of covering. There's a type of shell that makes the heart crooked. Ma'kemet musabevet alev. It surrounds the heart. Be'akumim esibum bilbulim harbe. It makes a lot of confusion around the heart. Confusion, emotional confusion about where is God, God's light, and what am I doing in Judaism. Hu bechinat klipat noga. It's like an aspect of klipat noga. V'alkin nikra sacharchar. That's why it's called sacharchar, because sacharchar is targum shel saviv. It means going around, but in targum. In the Lashon Aramaic, Sachor, Bechinat V'noga lo saviv. Right? It's in a roundabout form. It surrounds things that are holy. It surrounds the Jewish hearts. This aspect of impurity. Huh?
Headache.
Oh yeah? Maybe in modern Hebrew, right? Spinning around. Right. Ki bechinat targum, because you should know targum, which is Aramaic. The translation into Aramaic, kamuva, as it says, va'alkin k'tiv b'loshon targum. That's the aspect of targum. Targum is what surrounds the Torah. It's like it's like, let's say, like targum onkelos, like that. It's like the closest thing, but it's not lashon kodesh, right? It's surrounding the kodesh. So too we have this aspect of the impurities that's surrounding around the heart. We go through confusions, we go through doubts. Uchsha'adam nofel lasham. So let's see, when a person falls there, what are you going to do? You fell. This is like what the Rebbe said, like places of impurity. But then, then you cry out and you scream, Hashem, where is your place of glory? And this in itself is its rectification. Ki chozer v'shav el hakavod ha'elyon. This in itself returns you to that connection to godliness, to Hashem's light, shu bechinat ayeh, which is that light of ayeh, of where are you. V'zeh bechinat ola, and this is the aspect of ola. Right, like it says by Avram Avinu, "V'ayeh haseh le'ola." Wow, beautiful. It says that Yitzchak asked when Avram Avinu was taking him up on the mountain. Yitzchak said, "Everything's here, Abba. Like the wood is here, the knife is here, everything's here. But ayeh haseh le'ola. Where is the sheep for the ola? But we see in that pasuk that the deep secret that the Ola and Ayah was set together. He's asking Ayah, where is the Ayah? Where is the Ola? Where is the thing that can help me to rectify my foreign thoughts? We all want to rectify things. So Rabbi Nachman is telling us a big secret over here. He's saying you want to rectify the impure thoughts that you've had in your life. It's like a huge secret. You know what I mean? A person wants to rectify all the impure thoughts. You know how to do it? That when you go, that you do Ayah, you do this teaching of Ayah. That when you go through a situation of pressure or darkness where Hashem's light isn't apparent, and you just simply ask, Hashem, where are you? You raise your hands to heaven, you're like, God, where are you? That is like the Korban Ola, like it says, Ayah Sil Ola, and it can rectify all those thoughts that we've had in our lives, impure thoughts. Whether if it comes from doubts, whether it comes from desires, it has a tremendous power. It's another benefit from this teaching of Ayah. Ayah hi bechina tasel ola letaken al chaper hir hu alev, that fixes the impure thoughts that we've had. Sheba mimakomot mitzunafim, that comes from impure places. Ki al yidei bechinot Ayah nitzataken v'ola misham, that from the aspect of Ayah we can fix and we can come out of that situation. V'zeh bechinot ma shemuv v'sof tikunem Bereshit bara taish. That's why it says in Bereshit, in Tikkunei Zohar, it says the word Bereshit, you could also split it up, that bara taish, that Hashem created this sheep, this goat, right? It's interesting. That's one of the ways to break up the word Bereshit. Dahainu, what is that goat talking about? What is that sheep talking about? It's talking about the Sela Ola. It's talking about that sheep that you brought for the sacrifice of the Ola, that brings rectification for the impure thoughts that we may have. Meaning this teaching of Ayah. It's like if you would take, or Nachman, in other words, if you were to take a sacrifice that with its fringe benefits that it can accomplish for you in the Beit HaMikdash, and in our times to put that into a teaching in spirituality, how we can tap into that light, it would be in this form of this teaching right here. You want to connect to the benefits of a Korban Ola, that's the Avodah. It's taking a highest light, like Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash, and it's bringing it down in our lives. You have to remember the connection, to try to remember the connection, even if you don't remember, but if you put it into practice, Shinasal Yidei Bechinat Ayah, Shu Bechinat Bereshit Mamer Sotom, which is Bereshit, the hidden utterance. V'zeh Bechinat Teshuvah, and this is really what Teshuvah is about. Ki zeh ikar hatshuva. This is one of the places a few times in the Kutumran mentions Rabbi Nachman that this is the ikar hatshuva. This is one of them. Kesha Adam, which is what? When a person searches. Mavakesh umechapes achar kavod yisbarach. The search in itself for God in a place that's hidden. Veroe be'atzmo shirachok mikavod yisbarach. Then all of a sudden, the person realizes, like, where am I? Where have I fallen to? And then all of a sudden, a Jew starts to yearn. Umitgageya. He starts to yearn. He starts to wake up inside of himself. Veshoel umitstar. He feels like in pain. And from that pain of like, where am I? He starts to say, God, where is your place of glory? Hashem, where are you? This in itself is the tshuva. Before I was learning this, I thought tshuva is it's like a hard procedure. You read these svarim, you have to realize, it's all from God, and there's probably certain sins that you've done that's caused this thing, and really, that could be true, but that's very dangerous. That could really take me down. It could really make me feel miserable. And we know from Breslov that misery and the Yetzer Hara are like synonymous, right? They go together. The Yetzer Hara breathes on sadness and depression. If a Jew is sad and depressed, the Yetzer Hara is like, yes, I got him. According to Rabbi Nachman, that's one of the most biggest. It's something that you have to steer far away from. You have to hit the gas the other direction. Is away from depression and sadness. And sometimes he says, if you need to be a little silly, with your friends, whatever, joke around, this, that, he says, yeah, thumbs up, go for it. You know what I mean? Whatever you need, you gotta be besimcha. It's very important. It's a big klal. So sometimes a person all of a sudden he could fall into an impure place, and God forbid, let's say a person could say, where am I? Look at me, I'm so bad. Look at me, I'm, like I'm so rotten. What have I done to myself? And he could start to feel regret, but that regret could be a negative experience. And later, in order to get away from that bad feeling, he might sin again. Like he'll go ahead and sin again in order to get away from that negative feeling that he had. They did a study on, one of these like criminals, it's like mass murderers. He'd kill and then would come back, and he would like look in the mirror like the next day and be like, what's wrong with you? What have you done? How could you do this? And then because he would feel like so disgusted, in order to like distract himself, he would run out and do another crime. So it was like a cycle of viciousness, So we have to break out of that. We have to break out of that, roundabout motion of this impurity around us. And how? Like what the Rebbe says. Just ask Hashem, where are you? This is the teshuvah that you need to do. You just need to ask Hashem, where are you? And from the asking, Hashem could pull you up. You could tap into that hidden light. You should understand this well. He says over here at the end of the Maimer, he says, there's many things to say about this. Because when a person, let's say for example, he's traveling, let's say he has to travel a lot, so let's say he's going in paths in spirituality, like the ups and downs that exist in our lives. We know that the Torah goes with him. There's an aspect of Torah everywhere. Azaya Torah holechet lefanav. The Torah goes before him. That the Torah guides you. It's with you. There's many different levels of this teaching, and this applies to every individual in some different way. Ki kol echad lefi torato. Everyone according to their Torah that they have in their life, to their connection to Hashem that they have in their life. V'lifnei kol Torah, and we know, let's say if you just look at it on a simple level of learning, whenever you come to learning, sometimes you have questions in learning, right? In yeshiva it's filled. It goes and you're learning Gemara, 50 questions on the Gemara. Why does the Mishnah have to say this? Why does it say it like that? I didn't say this. He could have said it like that. You have all these questions. Lifnei kol Torah yesh bechinot tzveikos. You have doubts, tzveikos, questions. Kegon bechidushay Torah. Especially when it comes to, you want to come out with like novel teachings, new Torah thoughts. It's usually preempted with questions. Kodem shemechachin yesh kama sveikot bilbulim. Usually before revealing something new, there's many doubts, many questions, there's contradictions. Kodem shemevarim elaben adavar karoi. Before you clarify and purify that idea that you're coming to bring out. Ve'elu asveikot. So you should know these doubts, these questions that you have, is bechinat eitzadat tovara. It's coming from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Bechinat noga. It's all mixed up. There's good and evil. There's light and dark. It's all mixed in one. But you have to clarify it. You have to search and bring out the light. When you come out with the novel idea, with the Torah, with the vart, with the thing that you want to say, with the idea, that is like the tree of life. So it says over here, im yomar lecha adam. If a person says to you, Heicham Elokecha, where is your God? It says in the Gemara, in your Shalmi, it says, where somebody bumps you in the street and he says, you know what? Where is this God, Hashem, that you speak about so much? What does it say in the Yerushalmi? It says, Tomar lo, you should tell him where? Bekrach gadol shel Romi. I'll tell you where he is. You see the Colosseum over there in Rome, where the gladiators are fighting, they're ripping each other's bodies to shreds. The place that they do the worship idols and all this, that. That's where Hashem is. What kind of Gemara is this? What does it mean? That's what it says. We just read the words. Right? He says, Heicham Elokecha, he asks you, where's God? You say, Tomar lo, answer to him like this, Bekrach gadol shel Romi. It's interesting. What does the Rebbe say? What does that mean? This is the Chiddush. Shegam Sham Shemaleim Gilulim Va'avodah Zara. That even in that place, that it's full of idol worship, it's dark, it's disgusting. Gam Sham Mustar Hu Yisbarach, Hashem's light is hidden there too. By the way, it's very interesting. You have to realize the amazing divine spirit that Rabbi Nachman wrote this in. Because right before he raised this question, he said that you should know whenever you want to come out with a chidush, you're going to have questions and doubts. And how does this work? Contradictions. And then finding the Torah out of that, finding the clarifying the idea is like connecting to the tree of life. And that's really what I is about. When we go through our situations of darkness, but we try to search and we find Hashem, we ask Hashem, where are you? You tap into that light. So he says, all of a sudden, he brings you something on the spot. The next thing he said, all of a sudden, L'Kutim Moran, all of a sudden it brings, I guess Reb Nazim put it together. You brought this thing, is like, if they ask you, where is Hashem your God? You say in the thing of Rome, and then you would have tremendous doubts from that. Meaning that this in itself, it's the formula. In order to come to a level of revelation of godliness, you have to be able to go deep. You have to be able to go deep, not to be a superficial Jew. We can't be superficial Jews. It just doesn't work anymore. I'm telling you, before Mashiach comes, it does not work. Maybe in Europe you could, because everyone's from anyway. But over here now, it's like there's so much distraction. So it's either like the Yetzer is going to chop you, or you're going to have an intimate relationship with God. When we have to work on that, we have to be aware of that. You know what I mean? And it's so geschmack, because when you tap into that, you're tapping into the light of the Eitz HaChaim. There's nothing higher than that. So he says over here, V'aklal, the klal is, the general rule is, Kishenofel Hashem chas v'shalom, when you fall into that place of darkness, Azai, Kishematchil Lakesh, Ayeh Mekom Kavodo, when you start to search Hashem, where are you? You start to ask God, where are you? I'm looking for you. Bezehu machaya et atzmo. With this in itself, you give yourself chiyus. You give yourself life. Hakadusha. Ki chiyus aklipa hu rak ma'astar. The chiyus of the shell, of the impurity that you're going through, is just from the hiddenness. Mashinistar Hashem itbarach sham. The fact that God is hidden there, that's how it gets its light. B'tachlit astara. Until one would not be aware of God in that place, in that dark place. But as soon as you start to ask that question in that impure place, in that situation of darkness, you start to just raise the question, God, where are you? You're already bringing God's light. You're tapping into God's light there. The truth is, it really exists there. It's just so fine we can't see it. It exists. Nimtza. So we find Shiyodim al kolpanim sheyesh Elokai yisbarach. So you're in that situation right now. We find that you are aware that there is a God. From going through a scenario and being aware that there's a God here, Rakshu nistar v'nelam, that he's just hidden. From you asking Hashem, where is your place of glory? You give yourself life from the question. Because ayah is the aspect of the hidden utterance. But you give yourself life with godly lights, with godly life source. B'makom nefilaso, in that place of your descent. Al yedeha bakasha v'achipus shemechapes ayeh mekom kavodo, from you asking, where is your place of glory, Kanal? V'achakach zoche la'alos misham legamre l'kedusha, then you'll be zoche to come out of there, to come into that place of holiness. Tahainu b'mekom yisgalus kavod yisbarach, ki ikar kedusha sheitgale kavod yisbarach. Because the main aspect of holiness is that God's honor should be revealed. Baruch Hashem l'olam, amen v'amen. So you should know, one time, I just want to tell you a little story. Maybe we'll continue a little bit after. It says that one time there was a Jew that when he was in Europe, the new generation, before the war took place, people were becoming more modern. There was the Haskalah movement, even during Rabbi Nachman's time, it started. Rabbi Nachman said that someday it's going to be a very powerful force in the world. That it's going to be a lot of like kfira and heresy. This is coming from like before in the time of the Baal Shem Tov. People were more. There were Jews. Either they were simple Jews, they didn't know how to learn, or they were like tremendous scholars and yeshivas. People it was very very strong. But it was very rare that you had Jews like going off the derech. It was like it wasn't such a common thing, but already in Rabbi Nachman's time with the scholar movement, reform, things like that, things started changing, unfortunately. And Rabbi Nachman said that there's going to be a flood in the world of heresy, and it's going to really, scare the Jewish people up, and you have to be very strong. You have to hold on to tzaddikim. It was a very common thing in Breslov that one of the fundamental things is that hold on to the true tzaddikim, hold on to their teachings. Like we see, like teachings like this, it could really give you something to really grasp onto. It says like he said, before Mashiach comes, Rabbi Nachman said Hashem is going to take like the world, like the four corners of the world, like a cloth, and he's gonna shake it like this. So he says the people that are holding on to the tzaddikim, they're going to be holding on. But if you're not holding on to the tzaddikim, who knows where you could fall off to? So we really need to hold on to the tzaddikim. So there was one of these boys that was originally, he was in cheder, and his father would put him in like religious cheders as a little child, and in Hasidic cheders. He grew up like later on, because of the Haskalah movement. He got caught up with the Haskalah movement. Originally, he was very religious, but then later on in life, unfortunately, went off the derech, it was happening in Europe. So what happened is that there was something called the Yiddish theaters that they used to do. Like Jewish people started, they realized like the Goyim are doing these sort of kind of like Broadway, productions. So the Jewish people started doing it too. But unfortunately, a lot of times, even though it was on Jewish themes, it was a lot of times it was like mocking a little bit, the traditions and the ways of religious Jews. So what happened is that they were putting out auditions for a part. One of the parts is that somebody had to come and to act like a Rebbe, right? Come and act like a Rabbi, with a strimel and this, that. So this guy, he remembered that when he was younger, he once saw a big Hasidic Rabbi. And he actually saw Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, right? This big Rabbi Levi Yitzchak ben Sar Sasha, a huge tzaddik. Rabbeinu used to speak about him. He called him, he was one of the pe'er of the door, like one of the beauty of the generation. He called Rabbi Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev. It's actually buried in Ukraine. A lot of people, when they go to Uman, they stop by over there. So he saw him when he was a child, and it was known that the Berdichever was very lebedik. He was always very lively. He used to he used to always sing, and he used to be very active, and like when he used to sing like say Kiddush, he used to tremble, and by chulu, like the room was shaking. They say like when he davened Shemona Esrei, he used to start davening on one side of the room, he used to finish Shemona Esrei on the other side of the room. He'd be so involved in God that he wouldn't even realize where he's standing. He'd be bowing, jumping, So this guy remembered that, and he knew how to do that well. So it wasn't, he put on this Bekish, this shiny Bekish and this strimel, and he was little auditions, and he started doing, the parts. So people that were watching, people that were auditioning, they were like, this guy's great. This guy's really good. Let's use him. All right, you got the part. So he's like, okay, great. So it comes time for the night of the show. He's sitting in his room, in his changing room. He's sitting there and he's looking at the mirror. He's wearing a strimel. He's wearing a bekish, and he's sitting there looking at the mirror. He's thinking to himself, what am I doing? I started thinking, who's really real in the world? You know what I mean? I'm acting. Everyone's out. We're all like actors. Everyone's out to impress everybody. He started thinking in his life, where is he in life? What is he? And he started thinking, what am I doing? Who am I making fun of? I'm making fun of someone in the world that was probably the most real person. Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, he didn't have any inhibitions. He wasn't afraid of who's looking at him. He used to just attach himself to God. regardless of who's watching him. So who am I making fun of? Who am I acting? Who am I impersonating? I'm impersonating the most real person in the world. I'm making that fake. He's like, I'm the biggest liar. He was ripping himself apart. He couldn't believe what he's doing. And it's like the show. It's like coming, the show's going on. It's coming time for his part. And he's like sitting there. Some guy knocks on the door. He's like, 2 minutes. Like, what am I going to do? He started feeling sick. He's like, what am I doing? So he came out, it was like his part. They give him the cue. He comes out on stage. And all of a sudden he stands there. He's like frozen. He's like, what am I doing? He's like, Hashem, what am I doing? And everyone's like, the guy's looking like, okay, the crowd's watching, like, go ahead! And he's like, what am I doing? And he just like freezes. He's like, God, what am I doing? And then all of a sudden he just like takes his strimal off. He's like, throws his down. He's like, I can't do this. He takes off his bag. He's like, I can't. He just like walks through the crowd. Like, everyone's like, what? This is crazy. Like, ruined the show. This guy, he's nuts. He like walks right out there. He keeps on walking until he finds a shul. He finds the closest shul. He like walks in there. He finds a sefer Tehillim. He knew that if you want to do tshuva, Tehillim helps. And he sat there. He just started crying over the sefer Tehillim. He just started pouring out his heart. He still remembered how to read since he was a kid, a little bit. And it took him a long time, but he sat there and he finished the whole sefer Tehillim bawling. And he was able, from that experience, he started pulling out of his mess, and he started going out more towards holiness and mitzvahs, and he started learning more, and he found Hashem. So we have to know in ourselves also, it's amazing, so like from this question, just realizing, is like, am I being real? Am I being real? You know what I mean? You know that phrase, like, get real? You know what I mean? Like, you gotta ask yourselves that sometime. You tell your friends, like, keep it real. Like, what does that mean? Keep it real. Like, be real to your soul. Be real, So, but it happens, like, how can I really pull out of that mess, even though it's in my head, even though it's like around my heart, all these doubts, all these confusions? You don't have to rise above the scenario. You're in the scenario. Just ask God, where are you? Asking your soul, where am I? Where have I fallen to? And he says, from that itself, you could come to the highest of all levels. It's Hashem should help that every single one of us in this room should be able to be so strong that if chas shalom, whatever, we shouldn't have to fall. But if we do fall, because it's inevitable that people fall in whatever realm, that we should be able to have this so much in our blood that we search to find Hashem, that we could right away tap into that hidden light of creation. And we could come to the highest level through the teaching of Ayam Mekom Kavoda Hashem. We should be zocheh that every single one of us, we should have big aliyahs in holiness. We should grow. Our families should grow day by day. Whether if it has to do with physicality, whatever we need, Hashem should bless us, and spiritually, whatever we need, we should all be complete, holy Jewish soldiers for HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Amen.
Shkayach, shkayach. There's a niggun they sing in Breslov. It goes like this.
Is that going on for Shabbos or no? Something?